Hello, my name is Sonia Howard, and I'm a member of the Tsawwassen First Nation in British Columbia, just south of Vancouver. Ottawa's home now, and my family came here via Winnipeg, just the way things happened in the 60s. Tsawwassen First Nation also signed one of BC's first modern urban treaties, and it came into effect in 2009. Today I'm going to read parts of pages 276 and 277 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's final report, Honoring Indigenous Spirituality. Many survivors told the Commission that reconnecting with traditional Indigenous spiritual teachings and practices has been essential to their healing, with some going so far as to say, "It saved my life." One survivor said, "The sun dances and all the other teachings, the healing lodges, sweat lodges, I know that's what helped me keep my sanity, to keep me from breaking down and being a total basket case. That's what has helped me, the teachings of our Aboriginal culture and language." Losing the connections to their languages and cultures in the residential schools had devastating impacts on survivors, their families, and communities. Land, language, culture, and identity are inseparable from spirituality. All are necessary elements of a whole way of being, of living on the land as Indigenous peoples. As survivor and Anishinaabe elder Fred Kelly has explained, to take the territorial lands away from a people whose very spirit is so intrinsically connected to Mother Earth was to actually dispossess them of their very soul and being. It was to destroy whole Indigenous nations. Weakened by disease and separated from their traditional foods and medicines, First Nations peoples had no defense against further government encroachments on their lives. Yet they continued to abide by the terms of the treaties, trusting in the honor of the Crown to no avail. They were mortally wounded in mind, body, heart, and spirit that turned them into the walking dead. Recovery would take time, and fortunately, they took their sacred traditions underground to be practiced in secret until the day of revival that would surely come. I'm happy that my ancestors saw fit to bring their sacred beliefs underground when they were banned and persecuted. Because of them and the Creator, my people are alive, and in them, I found my answers. Jenny Blackbird, who attended the Mohawk Institute in Brantford, Ontario, explained it this way. Our elders taught us that language is the soul of the nation, and the sound of our language is its cement. Anishinaabe gives the ability to see into our future. Anishinaabe gives us the ability to listen to what is going on around us and the ability to listen to what is happening inside of us. Through seeing and listening, we can harvest what we need to sustain ourselves and to secure the properties that will heal us. Ever since I can remember as a child speaking my language, it helped me to restore my inner harmony by maintaining my mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. Spiritual fear, confusion, and conflict are the direct consequences of the violence with which traditional beliefs were stripped away from Indigenous peoples. This turmoil gives particular urgency to understanding the role of Canada's churches in effecting reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. A number of survivors spoke to us about the many contradictions they now see between their adult knowledge of Christian ethics and biblical teachings and how they were treated in the schools. These contradictions indicate the spiritual fear and confusion that so many survivors have experienced. Children who returned home from the residential schools were unable to relate to families who still spoke their traditional languages and practiced traditional spirituality. Survivors who wanted to learn the spiritual teachings of their ancestors were criticized and sometimes ostracized by their own family members who were Christian and by the church. Survivors and their relatives reported that these tensions led to family breakdown. Such is the depth of this spiritual conflict. The cumulative impact of the residential schools was to deny First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples their spiritual birthright and heritage. In our view, supporting the right of Indigenous peoples to self-determination in spiritual matters must be a high priority in the reconciliation process. To be consistent with the United Nations Declaration, Indigenous peoples who were denied the right to practice and teach their own spiritual and religious beliefs and traditions must now be able to do so freely and on their own terms. For many, this is not easily done. Haichka.